Another week, another big game in the SEC. Mississippi State on the road at Texas A&M. Good thing it's a blackout. We're not going to have to deal with the maroon versus maroon headache that happens in this game all the time. I think there might have been some strategy in that, and I'm grateful for it. Aggies, make sure you wear black to this game. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be exciting. But for A&M, you have a chance to build on a really strong start to the season. You're working, you're chipping away, you're trying to improve your craft. You're in a homestand right now, 3 games in a row at Kyle Field, Mississippi State, Florida, the next 2 in line. It's a chance to build on what you've done. It's a chance to clean up some penalties. It's a chance to keep getting better and better. We've seen developments from this team over the weeks. We've seen this team kind of transform and evolve. The run defense getting better and better. The running game finally coming on versus Auburn. There's some really good stuff in Aggie land that we want to see continue in this game. For Mississippi State, man, Jeff Lebby has those boys believing. Because last year, they were forced into a coaching change, unfortunate passing of Mike Leach, full reset, transfer portal, all the stuff that happens with the coaching change. They opened the year with a really big win. Second week, Arizona State at home. A little bit of a scare at the end there, but the explosive pass got them over the top in that game. Start the season 4-0, and they dropped their biggest game of the year at home versus Tennessee in a thriller, overtime thriller last week. And they're coming off of that, a very emotionally draining game, just like A&M would have felt after the Notre Dame game. Fortunately, we had the bye. They have to go get to business on the road at Kyle Field like Auburn did last week. But it's a really good start for Mississippi State. It's a program you can't help but feel some positivity towards, considering what happened in their coaching situation a couple of years ago. And it's good to see them already break their over-under win total. They were listed by Vegas at 3.5 for the over-under win total on the year. They've already broken that in 4 games. So that's a great start to Mississippi State. Guys, we're going to preview the game. Thank you so much for being here. Drop a sub if you can. It helps me so much to grow this channel and get the word out and bring more Aggies, Mississippi State fans, opposing fans into the discussion. We have a lot of fun here. But I want to go through matchups. I want to go through Mississippi State. I think there's a lot of surprising stuff about this team that we didn't expect going into the year. So I have a lot of fun just talking about them and kind of what makes them go, because they're early in their arc, right? They're still early in their coaching change, especially such a sharp change. And they've had to reset. But Lebby has gone out to the portal, brought some really good players in, got some good development going on, and they're in a really good place. So I'm excited to talk about them. And, of course, we'll talk matchups. And at the end of this video, I'll give you my score prediction. I might cheat with the score prediction. I might do something I don't usually do with the score prediction, because I think there's some extenuating circumstances in this game that I want to get into with you guys. Some really weird stuff that might make this Vegas line look the way it is. And right now, that line has A&M as a 14.5-point favorite. And I think that thing opened at like 12, which even the 12 was a kind of shocking number, kind of jarring when you see how competitive Mississippi State was at home versus Tennessee last week. I bet them to cover, and they did. That 7.5 points they were given, and they ended up losing the game by 7. And then, of course, beating the Big 12 champ, a 12 ranked team in the country in Arizona State early in the year. For the spread to be so big, it was jarring. And I think the reason the spread is there, I think, first of all, A&M is in a good place for sure. But to go to 12 and now 14.5, I think there's more than that. If you look at Mississippi State, they are unfortunately dealing with a slew of key injuries. And before we get into players, I was going to kind of thread this in throughout the video. I want to talk about this. Jeff Lebby is getting a lot out of his team right now. Of course, like we said, they're early in their revamp. They're early in the rebuild. He doesn't have all of his guys yet. They don't have the talent they will have as he gets a couple of recruiting cycles to start acquiring talent. What they're doing is they're having some studs play really well, and they're just getting a lot of heart and a lot of, people playing really hard right now. But unfortunately, with these games that they're in, Arizona State and Tennessee, they're playing so hard. They're relying on some really key guys. Guys are dropping off, and it's very unfortunate. We'll talk about them throughout the video, but versus Arizona State, they lost a starting tackle. They lost a starting defensive lineman, both for the year. And we have seen the tackle issue kind of come up in those 2 big games time and time again. And now another one of their tackles ended up in a sling last game after exiting the game after a touchdown in Albert Reese. And that shuffle continues, and that has been a major detriment to their team. And a really big one offensively they just lost was Brennan Thompson. Electric receiver, 4.3 speed guy, and he's down. He's going to be on the injury report come tonight. If you're watching this on Wednesday, we'll have to keep an eye out for these next couple of reports. It's a very big deal. And defensively, they lose their leading tackler in Isaac Smith at the so crucial nickel position. We know at A&M how much a nickel injury can impact a defense. So I think some of that stuff is built into the spread. Because again, this team doesn't have all the studs they will have in a couple of years once Lebby gets this thing going, and he clearly is on a path to do so. But as it stands right now, it's a battered and beaten up team. And you hate to see that for a team. You hate to have to put that into a game preview, but it's definitely part of the story. We're going to have some crucial SEC mandated injury reports over the next couple of nights, and we're going to keep an eye out for that for sure. But let's talk about their team, because even so, they lose some of their key guys potentially, but they also have some key guys playing. Obviously, Blake Shapen, really good quarterback, can throw and run, a good decision maker. I think he's been a revelation for the team. His whole career is staying healthy. And last year, you saw Michael Van Buren playing because of him going down. Now he's back, and I think he's playing really well. He can run, he can pass, he's a gamer. He can do a lot for a team. He can extend plays, he can hit the checkdowns late. It's a really, really good quarterback. But I think the main thing that has kind of taken them over the top this year has been their tandem at running back. Fluff Bothwell, Davin Booth. Thunder and lightning, right? Fluff is 5'10", 230, a thumper, a big dude. Davin Booth also 5'10", but 205, open field speed. And make no mistake, I'm calling them thunder and lightning. They can both do a little bit of everything. This is a really, really good running back tandem. They're playing behind an offensive line that, again, is beat up right now. It's not what it should look like at this moment in time. And if you watch them play, I think down to down, it's a pretty good, pretty physical offensive line. There are just too many breakdowns. You know, it'll be a couple of good plays, then you'll have a tackle bust. It'll be a couple of good plays, and you'll have leakage. It's been an up and down offensive line unit, and they've given up some sacks on the year. I think they've given up 12 on the year already. And, you know, some games they've had a really good push in the running game. You know, Arizona State didn't get it going, but the passing game picked up. Tennessee, they got the running game going. And I will say, based on this offensive line kind of being up and down, the running backs are doing a really good job of bouncing outside, just making lemonade, extending plays to where even on plays that aren't blocked perfectly or blocked well at all, these running backs can still make things happen. And this is going to stress A&M, where they have shown weakness versus UTSA and a couple of times versus Notre Dame. Of course, A&M's run defense has been on a really, really good trajectory. Everyone circles that UTSA game. Everyone looks at that one and says, okay, A&M might have a leaky run defense. And that's fair. It's a big game. It's a big data point in this small sample size of a season so far. But since that 75-yard touchdown allowed to start the second half versus UTSA, A&M's given up like under 3 yards a carry in the run game. They have really locked that thing down. They're getting better and better in open field. They're getting better and better at gap discipline. The defensive line is playing really well. It will once again be put to the test. This will be the biggest test since Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame. They will not be running behind the same level of offensive line that Notre Dame has, but these are two gamers, and A&M will have another great opportunity to keep improving this run defense. And these running backs are really freaking good. It'll be really, really interesting to see. And A&M getting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. If this tackle thing does not go the right direction in the injury report this week, I expect that to continue. I expect A&M to have some opportunities in the pass rush game this week, and it'll be up to A&M to continue to generate that. They were so good at that against Auburn. Let's talk about the receivers, because Brennan Thompson, electric, game changer, can catch a ball running full speed, can catch a ball like looking straight up over his head. Really, really impressive player. Again, a 4.3 40 guy. He left the game last game. He didn't come back. He will probably be on this injury report. That is a vitally important piece of this receiver core, because Anthony Evans, the other good receiver that they have, another smaller guy with some electricity, attributes, if you will. It's not the same without your tandem. I feel like this room really needs both to go, because you have guys like Mosley and Williams that are playing solidly, kind of more possession guys. These are the two that really can change a game for them, because we've seen them win a couple of ways, right? It was the run game versus Tennessee. Didn't win the game, but very competitive, admirable, outing. Versus Arizona State, it was all about the explosive pass. Couldn't generate a consistent run in that game, and they went to the pass. And to be fully diverse in what they want to be, they're going to really want to see Brennan Thompson out there. A&M's DBs have been really good this year, especially their corners. Even at nickel, and the safeties played their best game yet against Auburn. They have been somewhat of a weakness throughout the year, but they've been playing better. It's a really interesting matchup, but if they don't have Brennan Thompson, I have to give the nod to A&M side here. They really need that kid, so make sure y'all are looking out for this. He's a game changer, man. He is so freaking good. Tight end, number 8, Seydou Traore. I think he's from London or from England somewhere. Solid tight end. I watched their game versus Arizona State and versus Tennessee. He's clearly taking strides as a blocker. Look out for that. They could probably get some extra push with him. See how A&M handles that. A&M's been really good at defensive end. But overall for this offense, again, it's just Lebby getting a lot out of a team. It's Lebby being kind of a chameleon, kind of adapting his attack based on the defenses he's going against, riding the hot hand, again, winning 2 games or being good in their 2 key games in very different ways. Levy's a great coach. Levy's a great scheme guy. He's going to have a great plan against A&M. But overall, I think A&M can get after this offensive line, and especially if Brennan's out, I think that they can have the upper hand in this receiver corner battle. So right now, I favor A&M defensively over this offense if they're not healthy. Now, if they are healthy, if they get on the right side of Albert, if they get on the right side, Albert Reese, the right tackle, if they're on the right side of this Brennan Thompson, that changes things. That makes them a lot more threatening. Because again, we're talking about this team. Every high-level player they have is at a premium because they're still early in that arc. They need those guys, and that might be why I'm going to cheat with my score prediction later in this video. Let's get into the defense. Before we get into the defense, just one more thing about A&M. There are going to be kind of off-script offensive opportunities that Mississippi State generates for themselves, especially if Brennan Thompson's in. The other receiver can do it, and of course, both running backs and Blake Shateman can make lemonade. A&M has to be good in the open field again. A&M's probably going to have a guy eyeing the quarterback just because he can extend plays. I don't know if he's athletic to the level that Jackson Arnold is, but he definitely is a play extender. A&M is really good at that. You got to keep an eye on that. But these running backs, man, if they find a crease, if they get outside, they make one guy miss, they're lethal in the open field. A&M has to be on their game in the open field, tackling and taking wise angles against this Mississippi State offense that, though they're missing some guys, probably do still have a couple of studs out there. So let's keep an eye on that. Defensively, the highlight of this defense has absolutely been the pass defense. They're giving up 170 yards a game, which is good for 5th in the SEC right now. It's really good, and it starts with their corner tandem. Kelly Jones, he's a 6'4 corner. He's been so nails in coverage. Been targeted 17 times, only given up 4 receptions. And the other corner, Diego Brumfield, maybe not as good in coverage, but a really good thumper, a really good physical corner. I've seen him blow some receivers up, blow up screenplays. He's really good in that regard. But both did give up explosives versus Tennessee. I think Tennessee was the first team that was able to finally punish this secondary a little bit. And, of course, that's Brazel and Matthews, one of the best receiver duos in the conference. You're looking at receiver duos. You're looking at Brazel and Matthews with Tennessee. And you're looking at Craver and Concepcion in Texas A&M, who seem to create separation on demand. So this is a very, very interesting matchup. Of course, Brazel and Matthews, different style receiver at Tennessee. Those are bigger guys. Those are taller receivers. But they were getting past guys. They were getting past some of these, finding soft spots in some of these, in the defense, in the secondary at times. Last week, Tennessee versus Mississippi State. Can A&M do the same thing? We really like this receiver tandem. They're not going to have the same size, but they do have that separation, the quickness, and the speed. And of course, Kelly Jones, a longer, lankier corner. Can you take advantage of that maybe? And how can A&M create space like they have with motion and moving guys around and deception and, you know, the out and ups and the wheel routes that they throw Mario Craver on? It's going to be a really, really fun matchup. And unfortunately, again, for Mississippi State, their lead tackler, the nickel, kind of in a nickel linebacker role, playing at the box at times, Isaac Smith, went down against Tennessee, did not return in the game, will probably be on this injury report. Another guy of paramount importance for Mississippi State to get back, and that can also pay dividends in this game for A&M because you move receivers around a lot. Both of your main guys are slot builds. You move them inside at the slot a lot. You'll motion them a lot. Big role for a guy like Isaac Smith, and if he's not in the game, that is unfortunately going to hurt Mississippi State quite a bit because he's been coming on. Their front seven, I don't know if it has the studs that you'll see this year, like Auburn maybe had, like a Texas will have, like a Florida will have. They just play really freaking hard, and they play fast, and they hustle, man. Again, this team is getting every ounce they have out of their players. Number 42, the defensive end, DJ Reed, is the snap leader on this front seven. He's getting a lot of, on the defensive line. He leads the team in hurries right now. Number 42, got to know where he is, has 5 hurries on the year. Of course, they have Malik Silla, who I think comes off the bench for them. We know what he can bring. They have a young guy named Tyler Lockhart who's really starting to come on at linebacker for them. He had a really good game versus Tennessee. I think you'll start seeing more and more of him. Bulky on the interior. They average like 320 across the board like you're going to keep seeing in this conference. The transfer out of Texas, Jere Bledsoe, starting to come on for them. They've only forced 7 sacks on the year. They're giving up some stuff on the ground. They hustle. They can get after it. But we really like A&M's offensive line. I think there's an opportunity to get a push here and keep that running game going. I really do. I really think A&M can do that again. But again, this is a unit that plays hard, and you're going to have to be at your best. You're going to have to avoid holding calls. I feel like a unit like this that'll squirm and fight at the end of the whistle could really invite some holding calls against A&M's offensive line that's been prone to those, whether you call them ticky-tack or not. Been too many penalties by this offensive line in the year. You're going to have to get better against a scrappy defensive front. So let's see what happens there. Again, I think A&M can get a push there. I really think I do. And I think the pivotal matchup, offense-defense, is this secondary versus the receivers. It's going to be very interesting to see which way that goes because they feel really good about that pass defense right now. Let's see if A&M can make something change there. Another thing you got to talk about, Craver playing his old team. Where's the motivation factor? Are they wanting to hit and hurt Craver? Is Craver motivated to go out there and get another 200-yard performance under his belt? Be interesting. Can you use maybe Craver as a decoy? Get guys a little bit, play on that emotion a little bit. Let's see what happens there because, that's a factor in these games now with the transfer portal. Craver left the team and he came to A&M for better opportunity. So there's something to watch for sure. And let's see if A&M can pick up where they left off in the run game versus Auburn. Because if you do, and if especially Brennan Thompson's not playing, feels like that's A&M's path to winning. So having said all of that and all the, injury stuff I've been talking about with Mississippi State, unfortunately, I'm going to give you 2 score predictions. This is the healthy score prediction. This is if Albert Reese is playing, Brennan Thompson's playing, Isaac Smith is playing. Those are 3 crucial players for this team. Their starting safety, Hunter Washington, he's like a grad transfer, a grad student, really mature player. He went out versus Tennessee as well. And again, they're already down 2 guys on the trenches, one on offense, one on defense from the Arizona State game. If they're healthy, A&M's not covering this game. I still have A&M winning though. If they are healthy, I'm going 34-24 A&M. But if that injury report comes up bad for Mississippi State and you're missing those guys, you're missing most of those guys, I think A&M does cover. I'm going to go 38-21. I'm going to give A&M an extra touchdown in there, and I'm going to take away 1 scoring opportunity for Mississippi State. So regardless, I think we're in for a bit of a battle. I don't think this is like a clear runaway win for A&M. I think this game ends right around that cover portion, just under it if Mississippi State's not healthy, just over it if Mississippi State is healthy. And it's another great test for A&M at home to keep things going in the right direction on a very, very promising start to the 2025 season. Guys, give me your score prediction. Give me your keys to the game. Tell me what you're looking out for. I'm going to go live Thursday night to give you guys a chance to call in. If you get the score prediction right on a call on that show, you'll enter my Hall of Fame up there, and you'll be in the backdrop of all of my shows going forward. We've only had one guy win that competition last season. There's room on that board, guys. Get in here Thursday night. But until then, guys, let's see what happens in this game. It's very interesting. It's a very exciting team in Mississippi State. I'll be live during the game on this channel for a watch party. I'll see you there too. You'll have a great week. Gig 'em.